military and related industries, a special salute to the men and women in our armed forces coming up this hour, giving back to the military and military education. Greetings, everyone. 7 minutes now after the hour. Got a great show planned this hour. Anxious to get started as we continue our Memorial Day special. Giving back to the military and military education, we'll meet Mark Mullenioux, founder of the not-for-profit, the Honor Guard Association. We'll chat with Mark in Kansas City in just a few seconds. Also this hour, Jay Kane, Director of Community Initiatives at the Kaufman Center for Entrepreneurial Leadership, explains how some communities around the country nurture entrepreneurs better than others. Let's go to the phones now and meet Mark Mullenioux. In fact, I had the honor and privilege of meeting Mark recently on a trip to Kansas City, the Entrepreneurs Tour of America, in town for Invest Midwest, and Mark was kind enough to stop by and say hello. So in a rare opportunity to interview somebody by phone, I've actually had the chance to meet Mark. And Mark, welcome to the program.
Well, thank you, Richard. It's a pleasure to be here.
How are you today?
Well, I'm doing pretty good, I think.
Good. You all set for Memorial Day weekend?
Yeah, I think we're just planning on doing some relaxing this weekend.
Well, it's a special weekend, and it's a real honor to have you on the program to help celebrate Memorial Day. A salute to our men and women in the armed forces, and in your case, we're going to talk about giving back to the military and military education through the non-profit Honor Guard Association. Tell me a little bit about the Honor Guard.
Well, the Honor Guard actually is an exhibition drill team and ceremonial function for Wentworth Military Academy located in Lexington, Missouri. We have approximately 600 members, some of whom we're still looking for. Unfortunately, the school had a fire back in 1978, and all their databases were destroyed, and so we've been slowly rebuilding our database, trying to locate our members, and thank goodness for the internet.
Right.
It's made our job a whole lot easier.
Well, take me back. You went to Wentworth Military Academy.
Longer than I'd like to admit.
We won't go into age.
Okay.
But tell me a little bit about the experience of going to a military school.
Sure. Well, as a matter of fact, I attended Wentworth from 1963 to 1970.
Well, that's not bad.
No, it's 8th grade through junior college. Military school is a very structured environment. You learn leadership skills at a very young age. It's a very disciplined environment, as you could imagine. To give you an example, as far as leadership skills, when I was 14, I was a second-year cadet, and I was promoted to corporal, and I had responsibility for 3 other cadets. And you just don't find that at a public school where you're responsible for the well-being and welfare of somebody at that young of an age. And it taught you, again, at a very, very young age, how to deal with people. And let's face it, that's what this life thing is all about.
Absolutely.
It's just the structure was very disciplined with the academics. Every evening we were required to be in the barracks for mandatory study hall. So consequently, everybody's grades improved, including mine.
Congratulations. Talk to me a little bit about your own military background.
Well, after Wentworth, I took my commission and went into the service as a second lieutenant into the armor branch with the tanks. And I spent 3 months down at Fort Knox, Kentucky, in the Armor Officers Basic Course. And then in the Army, in its magical, mysterious ways, decided to send me to Fort Bragg, North Carolina, to a psychological operations group. In other words, propaganda, psychological warfare.
Interesting.
And then 2 years later, as a first lieutenant, I was transferred to Fort Hood, Texas, and I was on the general staff at the 2nd Armored Division. And I guess my claim to fame in the Army, I'm not sure if hopefully my wife's not listening, but I'll apologize later. General Patton's son took over the 2nd Armored Division back in 1975, and that became the first time in the United States Army history that father's son had commanded the same division. And I was single at the time, and the chief of staff thought that I should meet General Patton's daughter, who was home from college over Christmas break. So I had a blind date with General Patton's granddaughter.
Wow, that is a something to be famous for. Not too many people could say that.
That's my 15 minutes of fame.
Well, now fast forward to today. You're involved with the Honor Guard Association. Why? What is it that you're trying to accomplish by putting this not-for-profit Honor Guard Association together?
Sure. It's well, one thing I need to I don't mean to correct you, Richard.
No, that's all right.
I just want to set the record straight. This wasn't just me. This is a group of dedicated ex-Honor Guard, what we call an old boy. A second-year cadet is from then on known as an old boy. Some older than most. But we got together a year and a half ago at the school's homecoming, and we had all been involved at some point in our cadet days with the Honor Guard, the exhibition drill squad, and we decided it would be something fun to do for our 2000 and 2000 celebration, and that is we tried to get 2,000 alums to return to the campus for homecoming in the year 2000. So we were kind of kicking the idea around and thought, well, we'll just put together a parody, a comedy of what we used to do because we didn't think we could do it. And then a couple of months later, as we were making phone calls and contacting people, we were able eventually to reach 21 people that had done this in the past and committed to doing this, putting on what we call the exhibition drill. In Wentworth, it's known as the silent drill. And the silent drill is a 10-minute exhibition drill with weapons without the benefit of vocal command. So when the first command is given, 10 minutes later, there's no other commands. I mean, it's all memorization, and it really taxed our ability to think. And you really had to learn this thing. So we had that challenge in front of us, and we ended up practicing 13 different Saturdays from March of last year till homecoming in October. And we had people coming in from all over the country. We had a fellow from Bob Mackin from Springfield, Virginia, drove in every 2 weeks. We had a fellow in Las Vegas named John Pelham. He flew in every 2 weeks. Our association commander, Steve Hughes from Council Grove, or Council Bluffs, Iowa, came in. Most of the folks were local Kansas City Metro folks. And then we practice and practice and practice, and just like on your website, it talks about at some point you say yes. Yes. And we did say yes, and the more we practiced, the better we looked. And to make a long story short, at the homecoming, we put on 4 different performances, and it was kind of a surprise to the rest of the old boys, the cadet corps. We had about 1,500 people in attendance, and we received standing ovations each time.
And what you did at the homecoming in 2000 is what's on the videotape that you sent, correct?
Yes, that's correct.
And if this is, I love radio, but unfortunately I can't show people what I saw. But you're going to have to trust me. What you did that's on that videotape is remarkable, because as you described it is a silent drill, meaning there's only one command to begin, and there is this precise march, really, with weapons that just happens. Nobody says anything, and it is there's something about it. There's an emotion that gets built just by watching the precision of the individuals that are doing the march. It really is pretty remarkable.
Well, thank you. We practiced. We figured a couple thousand hours, and total miles. We logged in 82,000 total miles to do these practices.
Amazing. Mark, stay right there. I'm sorry to interrupt. I'm going to take a break, though, at 16 minutes after the hour. I want to come back. There's a lot more to talk about with Mark Mullenioux, and we'll talk about the Honor Guard Association in more detail when we come back right after this. Day special, a salute to the men and women in our military and those who've moved on from the military to give back. And in this case, we're talking to Mark Mullenioux. He founded a not-for-profit association called the Honor Guard Association. He has been to military school at Wentworth Military Academy and joins me on the program to talk about the Honor Guard Association. Mark, welcome back.
Thank you very much, Richard.
You'd mentioned earlier that you know some of the records had been destroyed at Wentworth, and that you really had to work quite hard to assemble the alumni list and try to invite everybody to the special event in the year of 2000. How's that project working now? Did you get everybody? Or have you managed to communicate with most of the alumni?
No, we've made great efforts, especially telephonically and also with the internet. But there's still about 300 people that we're trying to reach, and we don't know. Some of them may not be alive anymore. We just don't know. But the school's been very helpful. They've shared their database, and they actually have a much stronger, better database. But there are some people that in this day and age, everybody moves around a lot, and it's just been tough trying to reach people. And hopefully today, some of our old boys will hear us and
right.
Get in touch with.
Well, let's while you bring that up, let's go ahead and get some info out there for those listening, certainly in Kansas City, because we're on 1190 AM KPHN, of course, on Radio America nationwide, and who knows on the web. Give us some of the numbers or websites and such that folks listening can get a hold of you.
Be glad to. Wentworth Military Academy's website is www.wma1880.org. And that happens to be the number. 1880 is when the school was founded by Stephen G. Wentworth. The Honor Guard Association, our website is known as One Bar None, and I need to explain that just real quickly if I could.
It's onebar-none.org, is that correct?
That's correct.
And it's ONE-BAR- no, I did that wrong.
No, you're right.
Am I? One Bar None, that's right, NONE.org.
Yes, sir.
And I was going to ask you that. I've got it sitting right in front of me here to ask you. Tell me about it.
One Bar None. Whenever we would be in a platoon and being dismissed or marching off the floor after an exhibition drill, the commander would yell "Sound off," and we in turn, in unison, would yell back "One Bar None," meaning we are number one, bar none, bar anybody.
Right.
And it's very egotistical, but it's part of that esprit de corps, and it was very special to our unit, and we're very proud of that. So we incorporated that, into our website.
Excellent. And I've got the site up now, One Bar None, and there are hyphens between the words there, .org.
Right.
So if you're listening and Wentworth Military Academy is something that is important to you and you'd like to get a hold of Mark, shoot him an email.
Please. That'd be wonderful.
Tell me what's the longer-term goal here for the Honor Guard Association? You certainly led up to a very emotional and rewarding event in the year 2000, and as I've seen on the videotape, what happens now? Where are you going?
It's interesting. The Honor Guard Association really didn't start until the day after homecoming this past October. About halfway through our practices, we realized that the real reason we were putting these on, you have to keep in mind that being a bunch of exhibitionists, that we, and I stole that from one of our members, by the way.
Appropriately attributed to somebody else.
We were doing this for ourselves, just to see if we could do it. And of course, you saw the tape, and we exceeded our wildest expectations. But we also realized that the school, their honor guard, they kept an honor guard, but it was more of a ceremonial type function where they did escort functions and so on and so forth. The exhibition drill part of it was kind of a lost art in the last 5 or 6 years, and we decided halfway through the summer last year that we would form an association after homecoming, open to anyone, not only honor guard cadets or ex-cadets, any alumni, anybody. You and Amy would be welcome to join as honorary guard members. There are no dues, but our goal, Richard, is to help the current cadet corps with an honor guard. And what I mean by that, when they saw us do our drill, I think it inspired them. They hadn't had a drill team in a few years. And some of the cadets, in fact, there were 6 of them a month ago, hopefully inspired by us, they put together a small routine and performed at the school's military ball. And it was, I tell you, it brought tears to our eyes.
Usually,
we're so proud of them. But our long-term goal, I will answer your question.
No problem.
We want to raise money for transportation costs, so we can take these kids to the various drill meets around the country. We want to help pay for their uniforms, maybe their weapons. The long-term goal, the ultimate vision for me, and I think everyone in the Honor Guard Association feels the same way, is to provide scholarships to Wentworth. That was going to take a great deal of money, but in the short time we've done this, if you'd have told me I'd have been talking on a nationally syndicated radio station, I never would have believed you.
Mm-hmm.
And here we are.
Absolutely.
The sky's the limit for us, and I think that it goes back to our military school days. Many of us served in the Army or the Air Force, Marines, and Navy. It's just a source of pride for us, and I think too we're approaching middle age, most of us.
Mm-hmm.
We want to leave things better than what we found it, and if the school's Honor Guard can benefit from our activity and support, then everybody's going to win, and that's really what we're struggling.
Mm-hmm. 27 minutes after the hour, I'm talking to Mark Mullenioux. He founded a not-for-profit organization called the Honor Guard Association, and we're celebrating our men and women in the military with a Memorial Day special. Mark, stay right there. We'll come back after a short break. We'll continue our chat. Living the American Dream. I'm host Richard Tabler. 31 minutes now after the hour, talking today to Mark Mullenioux. He is a non-for-profit business called the Honor Guard Association, and we'll go back to a conversation with Mark in just a few minutes. I've run a little long here. Actually enjoyed my chat with Mark so much I actually ran a little long in time, and I've got to take a hard break on our Radio America network. So I'm going to do that and then come back and chat with Mark some more, and also introduce Jay Kane in the next half hour, Director of Community Initiatives at the Kaufman Center for Entrepreneurial Leadership. He'll explain how some communities nurture entrepreneurs better than others. Having a good time. I was never trained to do this. I've been an entrepreneur all my life. I just ended up doing radio because I liked it and wanted to interview interesting folks. And when I get a great conversation going, I just get into it. And next thing you know, I ran out of time. So I do apologize not only to listeners, but certainly to my guest, Mark Mullenioux, for enduring an extended advertising break, although I do have to pay the bills, so I guess everybody understands that. Mark, welcome back.
Thank you, Richard.
Mark has started a not-for-profit organization called the Honor Guard Association. He has attended Wentworth Military Academy, and as we continue to celebrate Memorial Day as a salute to our men and women in and out of the military, Mark is it's a unique story. Give back, which I think fits nicely into entrepreneurship, and it also ties back into education, which is one of our top subjects. So it ties in nicely. Mark, wanted to ask you, for the benefit of listeners, you have a tremendous military background. You have now, of course, started the Honor Guard Association. You obviously have put a lot of time, money, and passion into this, but this isn't full-time for you. You've got a full-time, you have a day job.
Well, that's correct. Yes, sir. I'm employed by Sprint Corporation. That's why you can hear this conversation so well. I'm talking on a Sprint phone.
Good plug. I like it. Can't argue with that. That's perfectly fine.
I work in the supply chain management department, procurement. I buy routers for our internet backbone.
We might even have some of those here.
Very possible.
I know that we have a pile of gear in here, of most of which I don't know how it works, but there's it looks like a spider web of cables in here.
Right. Probably ours.
So how much time do you put into Honor Guard Association? This is a part-time thing, I take it you do on the weekends and the evenings?
Yes. If you ask my wife, she'd say way too much time. I don't know. Probably 1,000 hours in the last year. Mm-hmm. I really haven't thought about it, but I think when something is a passion, you really don't think about the time. You think about what's feasible and what's possible, and you're so busy trying to set goals and reach goals. I don't know. It's a labor of love, not just for me, but for all of us that are involved. And it's certainly been one of the best years of my life.
Oh, that's great.
It's just been a pleasure being reassociated with the kids that I went to school with. And of course, now we're grown, and it's I think one of the unique things about our association, Richard, is we don't have we don't have a whole lot of capital to work with. We've had an individual give us a little seed money to get things started, but we have become our own experts. And what I mean by that, one of our alums has started it runs our website for us. He lives in Boston, and he's given up hundreds and hundreds of hours to do this for us. For our incorporation with the state of Missouri for nonprofit organization, we have an attorney here in Independence, Missouri that did all that gratis. He gave up his time and his efforts, and we have Dave Tanan who runs Tanan Advertising. He has supplied some of the products we have for sale as fundraisers on our website. He runs our quartermaster for us. There are just so many people that have done so much. We'd have to talk another hour to recognize everybody, but I tell you, it truly is a labor of love.
You know, it's interesting to hear you describe all of those characteristics of the Honor Guard Association, and every single one of them apply directly to starting and building a business. The entrepreneurial focus of this show, labor of love, having people do things, going out of their way. You have to have that passion and vision, and something that's going to happen no matter what. You bootstrap it. You find people who can help you out in any way they can, and the next thing you know, you've got something running as you have now, like the Honor Guard Association, and you look at it, and I'm sure you do this, Mark. You look at it when it's up and running, and you just kind of shake your head, and you think, it's happening. We're making it.
Yeah, it's just so gratifying that I think it all goes back to exactly what you said on your website. At some point, you say yes, and we haven't let anybody or anything get in our way. We're not out to create waves, but we will accomplish our mission, and that's to help that cadet honor guard down at the school, and we're serious about it, and we're having more fun than you can imagine. In fact, we had one alum, and he wishes to remain anonymous. He has pledged he will match every dollar that we can raise in the next year up to $50,000.
Wow.
So we're out, it was a wonderful, wonderful gift. And so we're out trying to raise money, and that's a little bit difficult for me. I never did like asking people for money, but...
it's never easy.
No.
Not at all. Website, make it easier for you. The website for folks to donate to the Honor Guard Association, again, is www.wma1880.org.
Right.
And that's the Wentworth Military Academy, and of course your website for the Honor Guard Association, and I think I've got this right, www.1one-bar-none.org.
That's correct.
Let's hope we can generate some money for you. Wrap-up question: the youngsters at the Military Academy at Wentworth these days. Give us a snapshot. What will our future leaders be like?
Well, I think we're in pretty good hands. The school has excellent leadership. They're very committed to helping those kids become model citizens. And I'll give you an example. This past Saturday, we attended commencement, and I don't know any other school in the country that does this. But the graduating college sophomores stand in a circle, and the whole cadet corps stands around. They're in formation, but they're flanking these people, and the corps commander takes the flag, and each one of them kisses it. And it's a very, very moving event. Those kids, they're just like any other kids. They can get in trouble, but again, the military school environment is very structured. They are teaching leadership skills. You don't hear of gun violence in a military school.
I'll bet not.
They're surrounded by guns, which to me is very ironic. But I think the kids today, thanks hopefully to some of what we've done, They see the light, and they are very, very enthused, and I tell you, they're just top-notch kids, and we want to help them any way we can.
Well, Mark, I want to thank you very much for coming on the program. It's been a real pleasure. I've looked forward to it, and will you thank Dave Tanan for me?
I sure will.
I know that he loves the show. He listens regularly and sends us emails from time to time. And if he's listening, Dave, thank you. I do appreciate it. And then when you see him next, Mark, say hello to him.
I sure will. Could I say one quick thing?
You certainly can.
I'd just like to remind all your listeners to fly their flags this weekend.
Absolutely. Mark, I appreciate it.
Thank you for having me on the show.
You're welcome.
I really appreciate the time.
A salute to you on our Memorial Day special. Take care, Mark.
Thank you, Rich.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.